Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are a returning viewer, you know that I share my experience with cancer, and it's leukemia to be exact, acute myeloid leukemia, and my life experiences. And if you are new to this channel, welcome. This is a very informative channel. I decided to go ahead and share my experience through having leukemia and having to get a bone marrow transplant. And I have not uploaded to my YouTube channel in a while, so I thought that this would be the perfect time to do so. Today is my 5-month second birthday, rebirth, however you want to name it. So it's been 5 months since I've had the bone marrow transplant. I was very fortunate enough to receive a stem cell transplant from a male donor, unrelated donor. So this is someone that I do not know personally. We were a match in the bone marrow registry. We were not a perfect match, but an 8 out of 10 match on a scale 10 out of 10. So a 10 out of 10 is perfect, and so is a 9 out of 10. So I just wanted to briefly talk about my experience up until this point. We have certainly, or I have certainly hit a few milestones during this time. So I have been going through this journey for quite some time, and the bone marrow transplant was my chance at being cured from leukemia. And so on August 22nd, I was admitted into University of Miami Sylvester's Cancer Center on the bone marrow transplant floor to start the process. So I was there from August 29th, and I was released on September 18th. So a little shy of 4 weeks. And so you can be in the hospital anywhere between 4 and 6 weeks is what they tell you. And so I was released a little early, probably like a day or so. Because my numbers were looking good, numbers as far as my white blood count, my immune system, my platelets, everything seemed to be on an up and up, and so there was no reason for me to stay in the hospital any longer. So I was released. So I just wanted to walk through what the transplant process was like. And so on the first day when I got admitted, you kind of settle in. They go ahead and do your labs so that, I guess they know where you stand, like how your immune system is. And I had just come off of a treatment regimen, and so my numbers were okay. I had been on a IDH2 inhibitor for the acute myeloid leukemia, and I probably had like a week's break in between that and the transplant. So on the next day, I started chemo. So any days prior to the day of your transplant is on a negative side, and so it's basically like the countdown to your actual transplant day. And so negative or minus day 6, I started chemotherapy, and it was a drug, busulfan, and it's very, very strong. And it was something that ran for 24 hours, and then I did that for a few days, and then I had a break. And then because my donor was not 100% match for me, I did have a medication called cyclophosphamide, I believe that's the name, to intercede. And this was also a type of chemo, and its purpose was to reduce the chances of me getting graft versus host disease. Graft versus host disease is basically just your body trying to fight off the cells of that donor, because that is something foreign going into your body. So all in all, everything went well with the chemo. I didn't really have too many bad side effects besides the norm, like hair loss. And on the day of transplant, I was so anxious because I was expecting to start early in the morning because they said that the doctor had to be there and to sign off, you know, like on your cells or whatnot, because the actual transplanting of the cells is done by the nurse, but the doctor had to be there to sign off, and it was getting pretty late. And so I was with my family and friends, and we ended up starting like 8 p.m. I think. And so it was a very long process, because of the fact that my donor was not 100% related, because my donor was not 100% related to me or compatible to me. He donated actual marrow, and there were 2 huge bags, and so it kind of took all night. It ran through the night. They do monitor you, so I was hooked up to a like a heart monitor, blood pressure, and so they constantly checked throughout the night. And I remember being so anxious, I didn't want to get in the bed. You can lay in the bed, but I sat up in the chair the whole time. And that's pretty much how that day went. Oh, the nurses, they do come in and they give you cake because it's like a birthday celebration. This is birthday 2.0, so lucky me, I have 2 birthdays now. And we just celebrated. It was cool. My friends and family, they were there. And so the next day after transplant is considered your plus days. And so we began days +1, and things are kind of on a decline at that time because your numbers or your marrow had been wiped out prior to on those minus days leading up to the transplant day. Your marrow is wiped out by that chemo, and so on your plus days in the beginning, your body is trying to basically reboot itself and start to producing those cells on its own, and so it takes a little while for it to do so. And so during that time, most of the time it was like just chill, making sure that I walked, to get, you know, like some blood flowing in your body. And they had really cool things for you to do to keep you busy. I learned how to play the ukulele, and I learned how to play some keyboard. The music therapy was very therapeutic, even on the days. I remember the lady saying, you know, Tiffany, on the days when I know you were not feeling good, you still push through, you know, to do the music therapy or even the art therapy, because that's what it's there for, to get your mind off of what you're going through. I had a really bad experience with mucositis, and that's basically like mouth sores. And so I was not able to eat, and it was really hard for me to drink for a few days, probably like a week or so. Probably like a week. It was really hard for me to swallow. And so during those days were the days that I really enjoyed the music therapy and the art therapy to get my mind off of what the pain, you know, to take my mind off the pain that I was currently enduring. During the hospital stay, you're not allowed to have any outside food because they're afraid of risk of infection. The only outside food you can have is from your home if your family member personally cooked it for you. And so in the hospital food, after a while, you know, you get tired of eating the same stuff. It's not to your tasting, your liking. The food is bland. And it's so ironic that you end up eating pizza and chicken tenders every day, which is not that healthy for you, but you know, whatever. It's like you're very limited on what you can eat, and so you eat to keep your weight basically, and so you eat whatever at that time. It's not about being healthy, I guess. And so during that time, I probably experienced some weight gain due to the amount of fluids being pumped in my body. But once I was released from the hospital, I guess when your body is getting used to those cells, you start to lose weight. And so over the course, I have lost 20 pounds. I'm 20 pounds lighter than I was when I started um, the process. And so when I got home, I thought that maybe, like I'm home and I have access to food and I'll request, my favorite dishes, and everything was still blah. I still didn't have any taste. And but I'm happy to report, that those things are now behind me. It's something that you will get through. It's so funny, like when you're going through something, you're like, oh, I just cannot wait until this is over, and time just goes by so quickly. I don't even feel like I even went through a transplant. By the grace of God, like I feel so good, and I have no complaints at all. What else? You can experience some graft versus host disease, and I was kind of getting it, not on a very large scale. It was very minor. As you can see, like in my face, I had a few breakouts. So I have like dark pigmentation here, which is kind of like I think I was getting it in my face, or still kind of experiencing some of that, because you can get graft versus host at any time during your transplant, or anytime after your transplant. And I also was experiencing what we thought was some in my eyes. So I guess due to the transplant, your eyes are very dry. But I'm happy to report, once I saw the ophthalmologist, that there was no sign of ocular graft versus host disease. So that is great. So I just had to get used to using artificial tears, and they did prescribe some antibiotics and steroid eye drops to use daily. And I can say that that has gotten better, because it was a point where I would feel like sand in my eye, and of course I would rub it and it would get irritated, and then I would be walking around with a swollen red eye basically. So I'm glad that that process has passed us, or me. I say us because when I am sharing my information, I feel like I am bringing you guys into my world, so I say us. This is a us thing. But that is like pretty much it. And while in the hospital, my I don't even know how to describe them, but my friends are so bomb, and we celebrated the Beyonce concert. I did miss the concert. Beyonce was in Miami in August, and I was not able to attend because of the transplant. And so my amazing friends, they came to my hospital room, they set it up, and we had On the Run, Tiffany's On the Run tour. It was super cool and thoughtful of them. They are so like phenomenal. I love them. And what else? I have made it. So like I said, it's 5 months since transplant. So 100 days is like your milestone moment. And a little bit before the 100 days, so like day 97, I had my catheter removed, or the trifusion removed, which was like a good, like that was a milestone too, because since being diagnosed in 2017 with the leukemia, I've had some type of catheter in my skin, and it's like hanging out, and so it can't get wet, so you have to adjust, learn how to take a shower like backwards. And so that was a relief for me, because now I can take a regular shower, I can get my hair wet if I want to. That was relief on my part. And then on the 100th day, I did have a bone marrow biopsy. I think day 30 and day 90 something. We didn't do day 60, but day 90 something. And I'm happy to report that on those biopsies, there has been no sign of AML, acute myeloid leukemia, and no signs of mutations, which have been the driving force of my leukemia. So I am happy about that. And I am 99% my donor. So like I told you guys, my donor is male. And so they do a chimerism test, which can show like your genes. And I now have an X and Y chromosome, so I'm a man. No, I'm just kidding. But on a serious note, I have accepted the cells of the donor, and that is excellent. And I'm just doing so well. I'm just so happy with the outcome. I still have my days, trust and believe I do, but I try to think more about the positive things that are going on, because not everyone is as fortunate, unfortunately. And I'm just very blessed to have had a transplant, given the opportunity to be a candidate for the transplant, and have had, you know, like, and have had a successful progression. I'm continuously moving forward. Minor hiccups, sometimes the labs fluctuate, but we are not traveling backwards, and that is more of the more positive. So I just wanted to share with you guys. And it's really hard for me to kind of record myself and update and load on YouTube. So if you want more updates, quicker updates, make sure that you guys are following me on my social media, on Instagram. My name is Tiffspirational. It's TIFFASPIRATIONAL_. And on Facebook, you can find me under Tiffany Renee. And that Renee is spelled RE_NAY. But thanks for tuning in, and I am so grateful for you guys' support. Thank you for always supporting me. Having support during this journey is like very important. It's what pushes you to continue, because as we know, everybody experiences something, you know, in life. That's life. You have to, you can't walk through life perfect. Something is going to happen to you. So I would say embrace your trials and your trials and your tribulations, and just push through it. Like, of course, like the whole thought of me as I rewind memories in my head when I was first diagnosed with leukemia, I was just like, like, what the hell else? Like, what else can happen to me? Like, I had been through the breast cancer, and I thought, like, I was putting these things behind me. But I look at it as God wants me to inspire others to just keep moving, like inspire more people. And the connections that I've made, through social media with other people that are not brave enough to, express themselves or share their journey through a social media avenue, and they're more private. At least from me, they can know what to expect, and the feedback is always positive. You never know who's watching and what they may be going through. So as always, make sure that you guys like and subscribe to this YouTube channel for more updates and more information. I try to spread the knowledge as much as I can, and break it down as much as I can, because I know it can be difficult to understand. So I'm just doing my part. I love you guys, and I will talk to you later.